Psychiatric Hospital remains closed. Forest conversation in West New Britain. And the Hunters record first win.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Sunday's news. It has been 4 days since the closure of the only psychiatric hospital in Papua New Guinea. The drastic actions taken by medical staff at Laloki follows the news of 11 confirmed hepatitis A cases reported at the facility. The staff believe the continuous use of bore water at the facility has contributed to the outbreak.
The closure of the psychiatric hospital was officially announced last Wednesday when medical staff gathered at the entrance of the facility. Their concern is on the lack of water supply at the hospital for the last 19 years. For almost 2 decades, medical staff, including mentally ill patients, have been using bore water for cooking and drinking. But tests conducted shows that the water has been contaminated with human waste or feces.
I got all the copies of results here that tells the bore water is highly contaminated. I got results here. 19 years is enough.
In March, the first hepatitis A case was reported at the hospital, but the medical staff claim the management had withheld names of the 3 patients. This then resulted in an outbreak of hepatitis, and now 8 others have been infected, bringing the total to 11.
One of the reasons why we decided to close the wards, the hospital, and stop receiving patients is we have confirmed the cases of hepatitis A. That was the reason why we had to, our Director of Medical Services have to write to the department to say that we have this outbreak.
Hepatitis is a communicable disease that affects the liver. It spreads through touches and is, in this case, considered a high health risk for mentally ill patients, especially when they are not supervised.
3 attempts made to get Adaran win, we failed. The only thing the department came down was to rehabilitate the bore water, and it was left alone. They left it on our management to take over ownership of that. We don't have that kind of fund. We only have funds for operational cost, and that is to care for the inpatients. And that's the function of the hospital as far as the National Health Department is concerned.
Their demonstration last week is a call for the health department to connect water supply into the facility, preferably the Adarano water supply system.
House care, a specialized clinic, specialized hospital, where we look at 22 province patients who got sick, mentally ill patients. Now this is the appeal, and we go to 22 province members who said stop out there as ward member inside the 3rd level, na mi na stop inside the ward, me looking want him something and me come up and me affect him, all staffs, and especially all in-house patients.
Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital in East New Britain Province has remained closed while maintenance work is being carried out at its outpatient. The hospital's Director for Medical Services, Dr. Felix Diaco, says the closure was initially prompted by a fight between 2 ethnic groups within the hospital premises last Monday. And the hospital management has taken the opportunity to scale down its services and carry out a maintenance work at the hospital.
The St. Mary's Vunapope Hospital has gone through a hard time in the past 6 days. First, a clash within the hospital's outpatient between 2 ethnic groups last Monday night have prompted the hospital board to close its doors. And secondly, the hospital management has taken the opportunity to carry out maintenance work at the hospital. The hospital's medical service director, Dr. Felix Diaco, says the management has agreed to take advantage of the closure to carry out the much needed maintenance work that hasn't been done in the past.
You may look always where you can address issues immediately. immediate plans. So.
On numerous occasions, Vunapope Hospital has suffered 2 instances of theft that prompted a complete shutdown to its medical services. The longest was 3 days when the nurses' quarters was ransacked by locals in November last year. But this week, the hospital board has agreed that the main outpatient will be closed and the staff will only attend to serious matters.
The hospital, we always have a responsibility also to look after and take care of sick. So though we play to close out, we still provide services law inpatient law. St. Mary's Legislative close.
Vunapope Hospital is a Catholic-run health facility and it is the second largest referral hospital in the province. The hospital receives no direct funding from the national government. There are financial contributions coming from business houses in the province that sees the urgency to keep the hospital running. But the hospital board says the facility is coping with little they have by adding a cost to their services they provide at the hospital. Much of the money they make goes towards medical supplies, both at the local pharmacies to supplement the supplies that aren't available at the provincial medical store, and also to fund repair work at the hospital. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
The joint initiative between government agencies to provide health and education services in remote Papua New Guinea are still underway at the northern part of the country. Known as Operation Green Start, the rescue exercises were conducted in West Sepik, where 2 children were airlifted to safety after the Dio Bridge in Vanimo, Green River District, collapsed following heavy rain and flooding. This joint inter-agency operation is led by the PNGDF through the 2nd Royal Pacific Islands Regiment. It involves government agencies, including police, PNG Customs and the Labour Department. It is aimed at reaching inland areas along the PNG-Indonesian land border as a measure to establish government presence. Here with Sunday's news, we'll have more of the day's stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. The Investment Promotion Authority, together with other relevant stakeholders, will be conducting a business survey on all business houses in the nation's capital. The database survey is to obtain economic data and information from businesses to ensure they comply with various legislations of the IPA. IPA Acting Director Daro Pita says businesses are required to comply with IPA officers to ensure this survey is completed on time.
The database survey and spot inspection exercise will cover all businesses operating in the nation's capital. It is an important exercise conducted by the Investment Promotion Authority to ensure all businesses comply with laws of the country. IPA Director Corporate Services Anna Marikawa says there have been concerns of businesses not complying with business laws, and this survey will ensure they all comply.
The exercise is not about shutting down businesses. No, this is about telling them or encouraging them to comply. If they're already complying, that is good. But if they are not complying, we want to go out there and encourage them to comply with our IPA rules as well as the rules of other government organizations.
During the survey, questionnaires containing relevant questions will be issued. Marikawa said companies and business owners, shareholders and directors are required to cooperate with the survey team.
When our officers go to their business premises, we expect the business owners to actually meet them and answer their questions. They are required to do that, and we have, under our law, we have that responsibility to go out to business houses and collect the information that we want to collect in this survey.
Acting Director Darwa Peter urged all business houses and relevant stakeholders to partner with IPA in this survey. He said information from the survey will help IPA to further assist them.
Can be able to analyze it and give that information to build the trend, how businesses have been run and done in the country. So that database survey is supposed to get information from businesses and to inform us on how we can be able to further assist.
The database survey and spot inspection exercise starts on the 24th of this month and ends on the 31st of next month. Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
The wife of a 46-year-old man who graduated with his executive master's in business administration at Unitec recently said she never gave up supporting her husband and their 3 sons despite not being employed. Miriam Warren's husband, Alex, was a grade 10 school leaver who did his grade 11 and 12 programs under the Unitec DODL and was accepted to do full-time studies at the PNG University of Technology in 2001. Mrs. Warren said she supported her husband by submitting to him and assisting financially with the sale of buai and drinks, and she was proud to see her husband graduate recently.
Miriam Warren is a mother of 3 and a very dedicated wife to Alex Warren, a former police officer who graduated with his executive master's in business administration at Unitec last week Friday. Mrs. Warren is not employed but supports the family by selling buai and drinks at the market. She said the hardships of supporting a family was painful for her, but she submitted and performed her responsibility as a mother and wife until her husband graduated last week.
Market. Really work submitted. Strong lot in beginning. Problem block am school. No, it's some time plus I give up to.
Alex Warren was a grade 10 school leaver who joined the police force in 1989 after working as a mail boy with Post PNG in Isipik. While he was based in Simbu as a policeman, he registered with the UPNG Open Campus to do grades 11 and 12. He then moved to Ley and continued the program at Unitec DODL Center. Mr. Warren applied for full-time studies at the PNG University of Technology and was accepted in 2001. He graduated with his Bachelor of Technology in Communication for Development in 2005.
I always have in mind that I have positive thoughts in mind, that I need to be different, what makes me to become different. And that's the challenges, that's the always driving questions that really ask me all the time. I need to be different.
In 2017, Unitec offered Mr. Warren a scholarship to do his executive master's in business administration while working as the security manager at the university. The 46-year-old father of 3 thanked Unitec and his family for their support. Mr. Warren left for Pogera on Wednesday to work as a senior officer with the Pogera joint venture.
In fact, I'm dedicating this paper to my mom and dad and my very hard-working wife and kid, who she has been very, very helpful, supportive. She's not employed. She's been on the table market, trying to look after me, taking me this far, and we really made it. I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart.
Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News, Ley.
A magnitude 4.8 earthquake struck East New Britain province last night. Local residents reported sudden tremors that lasted for only a few seconds. No damage and casualties were reported. The Rabaul Volcanological Observatory hasn't released a bulletin report on the quake as yet, but the US Geological Survey gave a 4.8 measuring with its epicenter located off the coast of Pomio. Last night's earthquake is one of many that has happened recent weeks in the New Guinea Islands region, with a magnitude of more than 4 on the Richter scale. Conserving forests and wildlife is a big challenge for the people of Pokili Wildlife Management Area in West New Britain Province. The people have to choose whatever to give their land away for development or to conserve their forest as their source of survival. According to Pokili Wildlife Management Area Chairman Emmanuel Pokili, the people there depend entirely on the forest and its resources, and the government must step in to help them preserve their forest.
The Pokili Wildlife Management Area is set up by the people of Pokili Village and nearby villages to help preserve their forest. The forest covers over 50,000 hectares of land and it is home to various indigenous species of flora and fauna. There is also a hot spring which is a sacred area for the people of Pokili. The forest provides them with wildfowl eggs for food, sell for an income, and it is also used for any customary obligations.
Okay, area when pla close to the management, mi pla benefit lo kia utu when plaza sales longen naksim money natum plaza wokim or custom lo mi pla tu longen lo sad lo kia. So lo sad lo kina all fish na tu all saksak when plaza kisim money longen tu.
Pokili Wildlife Chairman Emmanuel Kosi says the people also depend on oil palm, cocoa and copra as a source of income. However, access to market is also a big problem for them.
We got all some PMVs nearby communities where all this kisimipla golong market na kolotan. But all fruit blooming plan normally NDP all company because you got arrangement within long all VOPs. So let's make him all program lo harvest now also come pick up long fruit lo schedule long all way all making.
Kosi said the forest is the only place they depend on for their day-to-day needs. But for many years, the people are faced with the challenge of whether to give their land away for oil palm development or to preserve their forest.
Oh, me planning support los sana one time where government can look more lo supporting me financially or any way where oil can sana backside los strong me place the can continue protecting this area where.
According to West New Britain Provincial Administrator, the province has set up an Environment and Conservation Office to help address these issues. He said they have policies in place to address climate change and other environment and conservation issues.
We've just created an office, environment and environment office here, and that will take care of everything, the planning and whatsoever. That office will take care of our in charting the way forward for a development of our environment and conservation, especially the wildlife.
The provincial administrator also urged the people to work together with the provincial government so that their problems can be addressed. Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
Josephine Kaula is the latest participant in the U.S. Embassy's International Visitor Leadership Program on Non-Government Organization Management. Josephine, a social worker by profession, is currently the project coordinator with Hope Worldwide. She will start her U.S. program in Washington, D.C., then travel to 6 different states, including New York, from April the 13th to the 4th of May this year. Her demonstrated skills in leadership and her passion to do things differently in implementing the HIV/AIDS program while interacting with key populations has been outstanding. Ms. Kaula hopes that this IVLP program, she can learn how to use innovative ideas to do fundraising in order to sustain impact programs in her line of work. Still to come on National MTV News, a closer look. This Sunday, we take a look at the Ipao TVET, an institution in Hela Province that is unifying a once tribal war-divided community. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to the news. Hela is a difficult province to manage. The people, although resilient, have been through a lot in the last 24 months. From an earthquake that killed 60 people to tribal fighting that caused the deaths of many more. But there are positive developments like an integrated technical school that is getting tribal enemies to sit at the same desks whilst offering education opportunities for free. They still struggle with getting the funding needed to run the school, but they have found innovative ways to resolve it. Here is Scott Wider with this week's A Closer Look.
Wear safety boots, goggles, helmet.
This land demand blow, this last school are very high. Last year we have graduated 400 students.
Personal safety.
And students of whole Hela always come into this institution. School fee, nothing, zero.
In 2015, when Thomas Kopari and his wife started the Ipao Technical Vocational Education Training Center outside of Tari Town, they didn't expect the school to grow as rapidly as it did.
Last year, 400 graduate different trades go now. Then direct employment come up here.
It all started from their passion for education. Thomas was a former Catholic education secretary, and Martina has managed the school ever since it began. They didn't have any outside funding to begin with, and they used their own savings to pay for building materials, stationery, and every other cost that the school incurred.
How much money me at lotting me blow using own pocket money blow me now one time blow me stay yet so all like expenses me blow spend him later and me had lotting him.
Initially, they wanted to train school leavers and offer an alternative technical pathway. But they were confronted with a huge demand for education and technical training in the Hela province. Nearly everyone, young and old, men and women, wanted to learn. So they took in as many as they could. They charged them a small fee of 50 kina and began the classes.
And this 50 kina is only, not only cash. They can bring materials or anything, a wood of 50 kina, 100 kina. Some people here community, they don't have money. Even 50 kina, all pani go, at least a month they can find a 50 kina, else 2-3 months or in all pani. But middle of Karim or DY or something blind or something, make him peak, peak or Karim, then people look at him stop in school, and graduation time, people are going to kill him again.
In this classroom, electrician and instructor John Feku teaches a small group of students who are training to be electricians.
Okay. So, mimba lanimolon domestic wiring na semi-commercial wiring.
Apart from a blackboard and desks made out of packing cases, there is little else. They try as much as possible to find the equipment that will give them the much-needed technical experience. It's a difficult job, but there's no way these people are giving up.
So, Lord, next year, bamisali moligolon. Okay, alba working second year loan. Don Bosco na kado sem fighting motivate na about na lei na igosem.
So, me looking more sem plandi. You mean no kata plandi technical men and women stop in Hela. Also, that's all come in walk in stop in But now, last year come out longen then nubla. Next year, before coming or some gonna come what planty but come out more some but job important is suppose like companies operating in Hela. If fully supporting this institution for students practical.
EPAO Tivet Center is breaking barriers and challenging cultural mindsets that tend to segregate the women and isolate the old.
Safety means being protected from danger.
Many of the women come to learn tourism and hospitality. Martina doubles as the center's manager and the tourism and hospitality instructor.
First time we been enrolling lane all plenty all illiterate meaning all no been school no salo read na write but all got experience lane we been enrolling. Na all 70 plus students been graduate 2017. Na 18 last year we been enrolling 400 students. Na all get 400 graduate last year. Now this year by third year blomi plus so
nowadays how me looking okay have power line come and it's like making me interested much long come school. Also me black come bloody line is up all Hamas and this is the I think first year of all me black come boom because me play no what before me play no what this line schools. So this la about Tibetan now you operate nambla orgada Hamas long kam kisim sabe also nambla kam.
Hela has always been described as a difficult province to manage. 20 years ago, tribally rooted political conflicts between the people of the neighboring Southern Highlands and Hela forced the disruption and closure of government services on the Hela side. With the situation complicated by ongoing internal conflicts, many children grew up to become teenagers and young adults without completing their basic education.
We had a constant roadblock and all the schools shut down, all the airstrips, everything, business standstill. It went on and on for almost 10 years. And most of the kids left school. And the young guys, or young youths that were 20 years ago at the school age, never had a chance to be educated, never groomed at, by parents. And these are the very people that causing the problem. So,
since being granted its new status as a province, Hela is now working to fix its own internal problems. But 2018 was indeed one of the most difficult years for them this decade. In February 2018, a 7.5 magnitude quake devastated the province. At its epicenter, more than 60 people were killed. Then, months later, a series of tribal fights caused more deaths.
A lot of lives have been lost, a lot of properties have been damaged. Only after all of these things we realized we made a mistake and we all come around on the same mumu pit for one pig, and that's the end of it. And what about all the loss we've incurred in terms of human lives and properties that we've built over time? And I guess our people have learned some good lessons out of it.
The Ipao TVET Center has become a shining beacon of hope and unity. The campus is where tribal enemies come to get educated together. Thomas Kopari refuses to accept tribal conflict as a barrier to provincial unity.
I'm fighting before. So now I'm Hamaslam Birigo stop and jet, and gate stop and jet, missing Gatimolo, coming set, and losing more something stop and jet. Sindel one desk. Even this time, me send him more some culture hella too. Or they don't sit together with the women on one desk. But I'm talking about Sindel one desk. Or sit down and then I'm looking more sharing a live blog and more some legally change from this technical institution. And then I'll travel fight. One is that Birigo and them or come. Can also Homana fellow close to all fight have in school. Namas Langano, stadium, the policeman, or hold him still coming, stop in Chetia. So, what is the important? It's the gun that you all in is important, or the education is important. I gave something stuff, then we clear him all, and then Lama must go through.
After they started the center, Thomas and Martina soon found that they needed an elementary school so that smaller children could learn close to where their parents were getting educated. Ipao Vocational School has since become a community learning center in the truest sense. The parents learn technical skills, their kids go to an elementary school on the same campus, and the people contribute to the maintenance and construction of the school. Many of the older students say communities don't really need university degrees at this stage, but their technical skills are highly valued in the villages.
Here with National EMTV News this Sunday, we go for another break. When we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League, and the SPPNG Hunters have overcome a 5-game losing streak after defeating Central Queensland Capras 28 points to 10 at Rockhampton on Saturday. Brendan Gotono crossed the white line just 10 minutes into the game. The Capras responded 6 minutes later, but Hunters prop Junior Rob and Blanda Bavu both scored tries before half-time, with Asebos converting both to bring the half-time score to 16-6. Capras Kainoa Gajan was first to cross the white line in the second half in the 63rd minute, closing the gap and bringing the score to 16-10. Charlie Simon scored for the away side, with Asebos converting to bring the score 22-10. Hunters Meninga crossed with 4 minutes to go, and Aboas converted to seal the win for the Hunters. Kadeboro Stars won the 2018-19 Tubuseria Cricket Association Grand Final yesterday with key bowling and an aggressive run chase, which saw them chasing down a total of 104 runs. Winning with 108, the team defeated Ayoro Waves by 6 wickets.
The Tubuseria Cricket Association held its grand final yesterday at the Oval 2 of Cricket PNG at the Bissini Sports Complex. A village-based competition, the people of Tubuseria turned up to support both teams in the grand final. Kadeboro Stars in yellow, minor premiers in the 2020 competition, bowled first in PNG's sunny conditions. The Stars quickly tore through their opponents, the Ayoro Waves top order, with under-19 Garamut's train-on squad member Eddie Tau on a hat-trick, taking 2 quick wickets. Aero Waves batsmen found a few spaces, getting a few good runs to lift up the run rate. The Stars fielders were left awkward, but the bowlers managed to make up with more wickets. The Waves managed a few boundaries by the tail enders, but were all out for 104 in just 16.4 overs. The Stars shined with the bat, getting a few early boundaries off the Waves bowlers. The Waves managed to get 2 wickets, breaking a strong opening partnership by the Stars, but that did not stop the minor premiers to inch closer to victory. With just a run to win, the Stars managed a boundary to win by 108 runs, with 6 wickets in hand and 39 balls to spare from the 20 overs. An excited Kadeboro Stars captain James Winnie describing the win as
fantastic to be back-to-back premiers and also minor premiers of this season too. So the boys they prepared well for the season. They played very well. So all in all, it's fantastic.
The Aero Waves beat the Stars in the Grand Final qualifier, but the Stars changing the batting order ensured an improved performance for the Grand Final win.
Okay, we were beaten by Aero Waves in the standby game by 22 runs, as you've mentioned, and we had to work on our batting, especially our top order.
Captain James Winnie thanked star bowler Eddie Tau, who finished with 5 for 21 in just 4 overs.
The outstanding player today was Eddie Tau. Eddie Tau is the youngest player in our team, and he's also a representative player in the PNG Under-19 team.
Sukina National, EMTV Sports.
The 44th MVIL National Softball Titles will begin on the 19th of this month. The tournament is going to be held at the Bissini Diamonds in Port Moresby.
The National Softball Titles will have 11 men's and 6 women's teams from around the country compete. Port Moresby will be putting the highest number of teams in the tournament, with 4 women's teams and 5 men's teams.
So for the Rising Stars, a couple of our players, you will see they will be participating in this national title. So our Rising Stars teams have been embedded into the 2 softball teams because they've been part of the local associations. What we've done is set up an intervention where we've now identified our target squad for our junior development program.
Before the national titles, a 3-day refresher course will be held at the Bissini Diamonds for umpires.
Getting our umpires from the other centers to deal with the new rules that have been embedded into the technicality of the game. So for the ISF rules, there's been some changes. So our umpiring chief, Peter Chalapan, will refresh the technical officials on some of those changes to the rules as well.
Port Moresby has dominated the competition for many years and will be difficult to beat at the national titles.
The level of competition has grown. I mean, for Port Moresby, we've always been here. The men's and women's competitions are very, very strong and very competitive. We also know Ley and Medang play at a very good competition level as well. But this is why we need to get teams from outside coming in and participating in our national events, because that's where we can see their level of playing as well, because it's a reflection of the way they run their competitions as well. So, but we know Port Moresby very, very competitive.
Port Moresby will be hosting this year's national title, which begins on the 19th and ends on the 22nd of April. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports will continue with more after these messages with an update on the first day of the National Game Fishing Title. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Port Moresby is playing host to fishing enthusiasts from all over the country as the 44th National Game Fishing Titles kicked off last night. If last year's tournament was anything to go by, the next 10 days of fishing promises to be bigger and better. Judah Memafu with more.
Well, day 1 of the 44th National Game Fishing Titles here in Port Moresby got off to a bit of a slow start, but by mid-morning, things were starting to slowly pick up.
This morning, a lot of nerves, a lot of apprehension. The wind looked like it was sort of going to get back up, but as they got out there, the wind died right down. It was a bit slow to start off with. We got an early hookup with a billfish, which they dropped, unfortunately. And then the guys that were in close on the reef, they were pretty consistent with catching fish after fish after fish after fish. Then after about 12 o'clock, the billfish came back out. So unfortunately, we didn't get any tags in any, or we didn't bring any back here, but we lost 6, which were raised and either spat the hooks or snapped lines.
Lines were tight and boats began coming in by 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And although a few did get away, 2 20 kg beauties were brought in to be weighed.
But we had some great fish come back. We had 44 fish come back in and get weighed. The big ones to mention were there was a 21 kilo on 6, and then it was beaten by another 21.4 kilo on 6 on competing boats. So
Day one this morning, when we left in the dark, it was looking like it was going to be a horrible weather day, but it all turned out good and the weather didn't get any worse and it was a nice day. Yeah,
it was pretty good. We were pretty happy we got one good fish, one decent mackerel, 21 kilos. Apart from that, the day was pretty quiet.
The competition's really heating back up and the points are climbing sky high. So now that people know all the big billfish are out there, there's going to be a lot more boats going out tomorrow, a lot wider and hunting a lot harder.
Look, it is day one, but we know the fish are definitely biting, and that's a sure enough sign that this tournament is definitely going to be one to remember. Jura Memafu, National EMTV Sports.
The CPL group of companies continues to support the City Pharmacy Rebels Netball Club. Yesterday, the sponsors continued their support for the 24th year, handing out uniforms and polo shirts to the women of the team who are currently in the pre-season of the Port Moresby Netball Association competition.
The City Pharmacy Rebels Netball Club yesterday received a few more uniforms and polo shirts from their longtime sponsor CPL Limited. The young women and senior players were at the Ritterflin courts to receive their items from their sponsor. The women were very happy and proud wearing their new polo shirts and new uniforms as they took part in the pre-season competition of the Port Moresby Netball Association. This year marks the 24th year of sponsorship by CPL towards the Netball Club.
City Pharmacy CPL Group has been supporting City Pharmacy Rebels for more than 23 years, and this is the 24th year under the brand City Pharmacy. And CPL Group is very proud of our achievements in empowering the women. We have seen a lot of young girls and a lot of women go through this program, especially through the sport of netball. And we have seen the beauty of this sponsorship, and we continue to partner with City Pharmacy Rebels Netball Club.
The sponsorship does not cover the uniforms and polo shirts only, but extends further.
As part of the sponsorship, yes, in kind we usually sponsor the uniforms, the exporting equipment, and we have the new t-shirts that you've seen that we're wearing. That's all part of the sponsorship.
President of the City Pharmacy Rebels Club, Emily Taule, thanks CPL for the long-term partnership and cooperation they share as sponsor and team.
This sponsorship's been with us, as Oti said, since 1995. The Rebels Netball Club actually has been in existence before that, but we came into this partnership with City Pharmacy, a group of companies since 1995, and it's 24 years. It's probably the longest sponsorship of a netball club that a corporate company has given, and so we're very proud to be associated with City Pharmacy. We get involved in all of their social development work. We're out there with their TB people, doing awareness on that too as well. And so there's a lot of give and take in this relationship.
Fidelis Sukina, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for this evening. We'll have the weather details for the next 24 hours when we return. Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Fine becoming cloudy for Kerma and Popondetta. Cloudy with some showers in Alotau. Mostly fine for Port Moresby and Daru. To the Momase region, cloudy weather and some showers all across the region. Lae, Wau, Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy showers all across the region as well. Lorengau, Keveng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, fine weather with some early morning fog developing. Some rain expected in the rest of the region, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg with morning fog developing. To a look at the forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru, to Kiwai Island, Kerma, Yule Island to Hood Point, to Samurai Island, and waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, and waters of New Island to Bougainville, and waters of east and west New Britain seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, with waters of Finchafen through Vitius and Dampier Strait, including Siasi Island to Long Island, and waters of Long Island to Medang, Bogia, including Manam Island, with waters of Bogia to Wewak, Aitape Vanimo, and the northern PNG Indonesian border, and waters of Manus, including all its islands, sea 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, sea slight to moderate with southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea, sea slight to moderate with southeast to southwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots. Bismarck Sea, sea slight with southwest to westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, sea slight with northwest to northeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that has been the news, sport and weather for today, 14th of April 2019. On behalf of the EMTV News team, have a pleasant evening and a safe working week. Good night.